Hi, Nyaki.
Hello, Kumaro.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? I'm going completely off script.
Okay.
In life, there are always excuses. Like, you will never run out of excuses in life. You can always find a reason why not to do something. And then you have to ask yourself, like, how important is that thing to you? Like, for example, like anything in business, you can say, okay, today I'm going to register my business before the end of March. You feel like every day there's something, and then you're in a bad mental space, and then something happens financially, and then you have a friendship breakup in the middle of March, and then, something keeps happening. And you decide, I'm going to use as an excuse not to register my business. I can't do anything on CIPC. I can't even log on the website. Mentally, I'm just not in the right space. And the difference is some people use it as an excuse not to do something, and some people be like, there's no excuses. I'm just going to get the thing done.
Yeah. Complete your thought.
That's my whole thought. Is like in life, there are always excuses. And there are people who will use the excuses and some people who will just not use them at all. And those who just don't use the excuses end up getting things done. They end up building their businesses. They end up getting the profits that they want. They end up finding the success that they want. They end up achieving their goals. The people who use those things as excuses just stay put, get nothing done. And then when you ask them, hey, what happened to that thing? They will always give you a story. This happened and then this happened and this has happened. Everything
But
can be
sometimes the stories are legit.
Yeah, the story is always legit though. It is always legit. Like, look at the 1,000,001 things that can happen to stop us from doing what we want to do, right? So let's just say yesterday. Yesterday, you wanted to record the podcast, but the kids came and washed and was late during the day, whatever it is. If I didn't want to use it as an excuse, I could have found an ugly background, set up there, and just recorded there or recorded in the noise. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like, how badly do you want to push through and how badly do you want to get the thing done? Like today, we've got the same elements are against us, yet it is happening today. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I suppose that's the difference between, like, I don't say like winners and losers, but that's the difference between what makes people successful, right? It's that overcoming. And I suppose that's what your story is about. It's that overcoming.
Yeah.
Because
And
people
it's
have ideas. Worlds will never, or people will never run out of ideas. But the people who actually make a difference are the ones that execute on it. Right? There's a quote that says, execution is louder than creativity. And the premise there is to say the ones who win are the ones who put those, issues, excuses aside and push through them, regardless of how they feel, regardless of the circumstances, to the degree that they have the power to.
right. Because it does happen. There are circumstances where you genuinely don't have the power. Like you can try everything in your mind to get something done, but it just doesn't happen for you. For example, if you're trying to do something at night and you run out of electricity and your whole block is out of electricity and you don't have a car, like you can't do the thing. Like if you have an electric stove and you're trying to cook and you have nothing else to cook and the power's gone. Like what else are you gonna do? You have to sidestep that and find something else. Find another way to eat. There are circumstances where genuinely your hands are tied, but they're very few. Many of us use the smaller things as excuses. And this is also a conversation to myself. I think we can all be like that and look at, okay, is this an excuse that I'm using not to get this thing done? Or is it like a valid reason? And it's a very thin line. But we can postpone and put things off for months, sometimes even years. There are people who have been wanting to start a business for the longest time. There are people who wanted to join the club for the longest time, right? 12 months, come gone. They are still yet to just click on the button. And instead of going and getting Uber one night, they pay for club shares. And still they have not made that switch. They just have not done that thing.
So one of the points here is also that so like sometimes the issue is not a lack of is not laziness, but it's a lack of structure, right? Because sometimes what happens, especially with women, and we work so well with women, and why we opt to work with women is because generally women's lives are a lot busier than men's lives. Just the way that the world is designed is that you actually do have legitimate issues. Like your kids need to be fed. Like there's no,
Yeah.
you can't feed your kids one night because you have a business plan or you have a business proposal, right? But I think what a lot of people, and I think the thing that we like to emphasize in the club and the thing that we build upon in the club is actually building the structure, and not using laziness as an opt, right?
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
structure, you have it in your diary. If the kids get fed at 7, between 7 and 7:30, well, at 7:30 you've got nothing to do technically. Obviously, there's spillover. I know, like, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I know parents' lives. It seems like everything goes wrong all at the same time. But at 8:30, when everything is settled down, that's the opportunity then because you've planned for it and because you've developed the structure.
Yeah.
And I think the, maybe that's like the solve to say if your life is chaotic or when your life gets quite chaotic, if you put it in the diary and you commit to the diary, then that's something that can kind of hold you accountable because no one
Yeah.
else is going.
No, no one is. And also in terms of structure, it can get quite like micro, like really, really tiny to the point where structure, like when I get the 30-minute gap, what am I going to do? Because even if it's a 2 hour gap or a 1 hour gap or 30 minutes, even 30 minutes, it can actually be productive because then what is the most important thing that I have to get done. And sometimes we might not see that. So your life may be completely chaotic. Like things didn't go right. People went to sleep later than expected, but then you get the 30 minutes at the end of the day, you still know what to do. And for many people, the lack of structure comes in. What's the next step? Like, you actually don't know what you're supposed to do. So, yes, you're going to have 30 minutes to work on your business, but like, I get to the laptop and then what?
Yeah, so it's that confusion, right, between procrastinating and pivoting to be able
Yep.
to say, okay, am I procrastinating or am I going to pivot, change plan, change course so that we can stay the course? As opposed to, well, everything has gone to hell. Let's just sit on social media for 30 minutes. I'd rather sit on social media.
Yeah, I'd rather, and it's so easy to scroll. It's so easy to scroll. But then that's the thing, right? It's having a business idea and having an idea of what you want to do is very different to actually having the systems to hold that idea together to make things happen for you. So it's not enough to just say, okay, I've planned out, I've got a 30 minutes at 7:30 and then all the things go to hell. Um what are you going to do when you find that 30 minutes? You have to be able to build the structures and to build the back end that help you to keep structure, to keep form, to hold your idea together. That's the only way that you're going to move from one place to the next place and continue to be productive, irrespective of how chaotic your life gets.
Yeah, I think that's important as well, especially in the early stages of your business, right? Is because you won't know when things aren't working or that they are working if you actually don't have, like, you don't create a feedback loop. If you aren't pushing forward and having to like see whether things are like if you're not progressing, you can't test, right? You can't validate, you can't grow, you can't optimize all those nice things that we want to do in our business. We can't scale if we actually don't put the first foot forward. So like,
And I like what you said about the fact that if you don't do anything, you have nothing to look back on. No action, no data. Like it's just you have nothing, there's no feedback loop, there's nothing that you can look back on and say, did this work, did this not work, like how can I double down? There's nothing to double down on, there's nothing to look back on, there's nothing to build on.
okay, so all of that aside, complaining now, we need to give people solutions. What should we do instead, right? So I'm listening to you guys and I'm like, okay, this seems something great, whatever, I do this, but what should I do instead of what is happening right now?
Well, first of all, like the clarity of knowing that you're going to chase one idea is a big first step, right? Many of us think that if we diversify our ideas, have many things that we're chasing, then we have more chances of success, and it actually works the opposite. Less ideas that you're chasing, the more successful you can possibly become because you can focus your energy, focus your action into one thing where it's actually going to work. I've heard somebody say that, if you're trying to chop a tree down, you're not going to try and hit it at a million different places. But if you focus on one part, that's how it's going to fall down. So let's just start with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then I think that as much as life is a marathon, it happens in like tiny sprints. So if you can set aside 30 minutes a day, if you can set aside, short sprints where you can get tasks done, even if you're taking one big task and chopping it up into those little sprints, then you're able to get work done. Like I know that for some people, they can say that, you know what, I know that my Sunday night or my Sunday afternoon, everybody falls asleep. So I've got this 3-hour period of time where I can do that. Great, go for it. But for many people who have chaotic lives, being able to say that, let me set up my work in those sprints, that will actually really help you to get work done, irrespective of how chaotic or how many reasons they are for you not to get the work done. And then I think the third thing would definitely be accountability. You need to find someone, a group, people, and a system for you to be held accountable to. I remember I did this one challenge where if I had to load evidence that I did the work, and if I didn't, I'd have like this mean looking face saying you didn't do the work, and I hated that face. Like it made me feel really crappy, but that was my accountability system. So if you can have a friend, right? I have Nyaki, rolls her eyes at me. She's really disappointed in me. I don't like it. So Nyaki's my accountability system. Or I'll have, a friend or a group of people who are just like, did you get this done? What happened? Why not? And having that feedback between people who are able to say, okay, cool. This is actually, you're making an excuse here. You could have actually found another way, or did you try this? But even just having somebody or a group of people or a system that can just check in. Did you get this done? That creates that urgency for you to constantly act.
So I love that because people are watching and they're like, yeah, but Nyaki, you've got Kapano, you've got Nyaki, you've got nobody. We're in this thing by ourselves, and we're like literally like, you have us. You have
That's the
like
point.
Which is like essentially the club that is going to hold you accountable to your decisions. But anyway, that's
Yep.
one like.
But
I don't know.
you know
I
what I
don't know
like
how.
about the club? Like we know what I like about the club is like we have this community chat where it's like if there's a personality missing, there's a personality missing. I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's a person missing. It's like, okay, where's this person and like what's happening with them? And even being able to break away into smaller communities. As our community grows, what I love is that they are more like-minded people, creating their own smaller accountability groups. And that's important. And not only just accountability groups, but idea sharing. So if we have, 3 ladies who are doing promotion, who have gifting businesses, promotional gifts, and they do it for corporate and small businesses, and they get together, they're able to share ideas, and they don't see each other as competition, but they actually see each other as a mastermind, like a small little group of people where they can knowledge share and also hold each other accountable. And because now they're part of a bigger group where they have mentors and they have, potential clients in the room, and they also have, experts who are able to then put them back in line, is that sometimes when you're around like-minded people, you guys can it can be the blind leading the blind. But because there's this bigger community where we're getting together and we're constantly being like, okay, remember, one idea, one roadmap, one way, let's make this work, let's try it out. That's how we can always make sure that we always are staying on the path. So that's what I'm loving about, the growth of the club is, that whole like-minded woman thing. It goes from we all want to start businesses to, oh, here's a group of women who have similar businesses. Love that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So that's the take home. I'll do the take home. I think the take home today is one thing, but also what would happen if you finished off the thing that you said you were going to start last week? I'm like side-eyeing myself here because I'm one of those people who've got like a million ADHD projects started. But what would happen if you finished the thing that you said you would do last week?
If I just finished everything I said I was going to do on Monday, dog, I'd be far.
The to-do list that keeps growing. But anyway, that's it for today. We will see you guys when we see you somewhere on the internet. If you want to join the club, right, and you are ready to stop procrastinating, if you're ready to be held accountable, if you're ready to hold others accountable, because accountability is a two-way thing, right? You have the pleasure or you have the honor of holding yourself, someone else accountable, and someone has the responsibility of holding you. So it's like a two-way thing. And so you want that, but you also want to do the work, right? I think part of what we do in the club is that we're focusing on doing the work. We're not just there to mentor. We're not just there to support. We're not just there to hold your hand. Be like our assistant, talk. Time now. Wake up. And so if that's you and you want to join that type of community, find the details somewhere in the video or below this, and we'd love to have you in the club.
Yeah, that's it from us. Hope you enjoyed your cup of tea. Yaki, where's your tea? Bye.
Bye.